Hello, and welcome back to the Misty Morrison Podcast. I'm your host, Misty Morrison, and this is episode 33 of Petty Please. Here on the Misty Morrison Podcast, we love to judge, we love to give advice, we love all the petty drama. But before we get into our stories for the day, our usual housekeeping, whether you are new or returning, please remember to engage with the content to help the channel grow. Whether you are listening on podcast, watching on YouTube, or watching shorts on TikTok, Reels on Instagram or Facebook, please remember to rate, review, like, subscribe, share it with a friend, comment with your thoughts on stories, all the things. All right, story number 1 is coming to us from r/neighbors from hell. Neighbors' dogs constantly unleashed and pooping in my yard, and neighbors don't clean it. This one is tagged, "What would you do?" vent/rant. I've been dealing with my very rude and entitled neighbors who constantly let their dogs out of their front door unleashed, unsupervised, and just let them roam around and poop in their neighbors' yards. I've gone to their doors several times to politely ask them to pick up after their dogs and prevent them from going into my property unsupervised. The bigger dog actually has gone in my garage and also runs up to my toddler's face. Each time I politely ask them, they are dismissive and rude. The most recent time I asked, the husband started yelling in a rude tone that, "I don't want to deal with this," and repeating over and over that it's just poop. This made me realize that I could never come to an understanding with these people, so we developed a plan and went no contact with them. I set up a camera and filmed their dogs over a month going on my property, pooping, not cleaning up their waste, going in my garage, running up to my toddler, etc., all while unsupervised and unleashed. I then reported them to the HOA with all the evidence. The HOA gave them a warning, and this made them extremely angry. We could hear them screaming in their house after they got a warning, probably yelling insults at us. The husband then went on the neighborhood Facebook page and posted a threatening and racist rant about us. He called us ugly, disgusting for reporting him and said we should move back to where we came from. I forwarded this to the HOA, but they said they could do nothing about the Facebook page because it is not an official page of the HOA. The admin of that neighborhood page did delete his post and then posted the rules to everyone in direct response to his posting. A few days later, I caught their dog on camera again. I forwarded this new video to the HOA, and the president personally went to their door. He spoke to the husband and talked to him about the Facebook post and warned him that if their dogs violate the HOA rules one more time, then animal control will get involved. My HOA president told me that he said he was drunk when he posted that on Facebook. The husband then posted a half-ass apology on the Facebook neighborhood group, saying he was out of character. It wasn't even directed at us. I think he was just trying to save face because he embarrassed himself in front of the entire neighborhood. Not even 30 minutes later, his wife texts my wife the longest, most hostile and manipulative text I've seen in my life. In that text, she had several demands. She demanded we forward her all videos we sent to the HOA. She demanded we stop involving the HOA, and she wants us to apologize for telling the HOA that her husband posted a racist post on Facebook. She also called us the hostile ones, the irony, right? And played the victim, saying we are evil for reporting her to the HOA and trying to take away her dogs. The following night, their husband paced back and forth in front of our house testing our camera. He said to someone off camera, probably his manipulative wife, "Yeah, it's on now," referring to our camera. Because of this, I bought 2 more cameras and will be mounting one in the back of my house and one on the side of my house, watching my AC unit in case they try to damage anything. They also have a bad history with many other people in this neighborhood, but I won't get into that because this post is already getting too long. Wow. When you said neighbors from hell, you meant it. That's insane. Like, it's one thing to have cameras for security, but to have to buy additional cameras specifically because your neighbor has escalated to the point that you are worried they're going to trespass and try to damage your property, that's insane. This has definitely entered scary people territory. I'm glad your HOA is taking you seriously and standing up for you. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what an HOA can do. Like, can they force you to sell your house if you violate all the rules too many times? I don't know. But at least they're taking it seriously, but I would have escalated it to the police by now. Because yes, you have it on record with the HOA, but you don't have it on record with law enforcement, and you have to build that documentation and that case up with law enforcement for a while before they can really act on it. So, yeah. And let's see, this one has a separate update post. So, story number 2 is coming to us from r/neighbors from hell. Update: neighbor now brings her dogs specifically to my lawn to poop. Also tagged, what would you do? Vent/rant. Hey everyone, I just wanted to give an update after my last post, and they linked that original post that we just read. So after I reported my neighbor to the HOA for constantly letting her dogs poop in my yard without picking it up and not leashing them, things technically improved. They're now leashing the dogs and picking up the poop. But she's now doing something even weirder. She's bringing her dogs specifically to my lawn to poop and then immediately going back home. She doesn't walk them around the neighborhood or anything. It's like she's deliberately making sure her dogs only go on my grass. It's so petty and bizarre. It's not like she's leaving the poop anymore, but it feels intentionally targeted. Is there anything I can do about this kind of behavior? It feels like harassment at this point. Has anyone dealt with something similar or found a way to deter this without escalating it too much? They've already escalated enough. I don't think you can escalate it too much at this point. You're just meeting fire with fire. I think you're right. At the very least, this should meet the legal definition of harassment. And once you get the police involved, they should be able to charge them as such. Hopefully. Oh, there's a comment on here that says, time for automatic sprinklers. That's brilliant. Yeah, if you can afford it, that's brilliant. Oh, and that someone replied to it and said, motion activated sprinkler. Yes, that would be so funny. Okay, story number 3 is coming to us from r/malicious compliance. Stop reporting about office burnout. Okay, done. My field of work has a high turnover and high burnout rate. As a result, my company promotes transparent conversations with staff members to ensure we are all implementing self-care, taking PTO as needed, and asking for managerial support when overwhelmed with tasks. Last year, my work began to suffer. I was struggling losing 2 close family members suddenly and was transparent in hopes they would understand why I was withdrawn and had lower productivity. My manager wrote me up as a result of my burnout, citing that I was using our one-on-ones inappropriately, causing stress among the team with my grief, and talking about being burnt out too much. The write-up included every single one-on-one documentation of when I asked for help with burnout. Management instructed me to stop talking about burnout. No problem. I stopped bringing up burnout, being transparent, and asking for support. About 2 months later, I request a 7-week leave of absence, citing extreme burnout and mental health issues. Management was shocked and angry that I did not tell them I was struggling or burning out. I handed them a copy of my write-up and said the action plan I received stated I could not talk about burnout anymore. Management was scolded for inadvertently creating a hostile work environment where staff couldn't ask for support. I got 7 weeks off and partial pay, and they had to cover my job for that entire time I was out. I love this. I hate it for you. I hate it for you that, like, they went this route and, like, it had to get so far, but you taught them a lesson, and I'm glad you did. Story number 4 is coming to us from r/malicious compliance, and this one is tagged original. You want me to stop helping unless you formally request it? Okay. I'm an admin assistant for a small engineering company. I often help our junior engineers with formatting reports, printing large blueprints, etc. I do it because it saves time and they always appreciate it. Our new project manager, Rick, decided this was not efficient and said from now on all requests must go through him in writing. No casual favors, no helping unless he logs it officially. So I stopped helping. For 2 weeks, engineers were waiting days for simple print jobs and report formatting because Rick never submitted the requests. Clients started calling, wondering why deliverables were late. My boss finally asked what was happening. I pulled up Rick's policy memo. Rick had to sit there while my boss read it, looked at him, and said, "Then maybe you should start submitting requests, Rick." We went back to normal the next day. I even got a coffee gift card from the engineers. They really need to dig deeper and figure out exactly what they're asking for before they ask for it. Story number 5 is coming to us from r/malicious compliance, and this one is also tagged original. She wanted to be the only one doing returns. Fine by me. I work at a furniture store. We rotate return desk duty so no one gets stuck there all day. One coworker, Mel, hated how we handle returns and bragged constantly that she does it better than everyone. One day she told our manager that she should be the only one allowed to handle returns. Manager rolled his eyes and said, "If that's what you want, Mel." Cue malicious compliance. The next day, we sent every return her way. She got swamped 20 refund requests, phone calls, and customers wanting price adjustments. Meanwhile, the rest of us were chilling, selling furniture, and earning commissions. By noon, she was almost in tears, asking if we could help a little. I reminded her, "Sorry, Mel, you said only you handle the returns." She lasted until 3 p.m. before telling the manager she changed her mind. The manager said, "Good. Now you know why we rotate." It is late in the evening. Oh, actually, it's midnight now. And I get really thirsty at nighttime for some reason. Like, that's when I consume most of my water. Okay. This is the last one I'm recording, and then I will shower and go to bed. But we need at least 8 more minutes to record this episode. Here we go. Story number 6 is coming to us from r/malicious compliance. This one is tagged original. Workout bags. Colleague works out a lot. He's a big, ripped dude who clearly doesn't skip leg day. Anyway, boxing gym, CrossFit, HEMA sword and buckler classes, cardio, Tai Chi or something. He does a lot. He keeps all of his workout gear in 2 big workout bags. One has his fighting stuff, the other one has the rest. Said colleague is going through a very high conflict divorce. I'd say, unfortunately, but he's dodging a metaphorical, if not literal, bullet, and I'm glad for him. She's super entitled and has 8th grade bully type of mean girl energy. She's not a nice person. She not only knows this, but cultivates this. They formally separated, and he moved out pretty suddenly because she got scary threatening and he escaped with his cats, his laptop, and the clothes he was wearing. No workout gear, no kitchen gear. Getting stuff is increasingly complicated because he has a protective order against her. He can't go to the house when she's there and has to get some sort of permission any other time. He can't just get his things, even though it's his house. Everything essentially goes through lawyers or the courts right now. It's messy. Now, all he wanted in the interim were his cats, his snake, his workout gear, his chef knives, and some pans, and his electronics. Once the cats and Python were safe, he asked his ex in progress for his workout bags. X hands over the workout gear bags. Just the bags. Empty. He had asked for my workout bags, and yes, he got his workout bags, technically. I'm waiting to see if he gets the rest ever. The ex is the one that maliciously complied. Here, you asked for your workout bag, she gave you the bags. Yeah, I don't know if you'll get the rest ever, because I feel like the way she's acting, she may have sold it, trashed it, burned it, who knows. I'm sorry for him too. I'm sorry for your friend. This is a rough one. Story number 7 is coming to us from r/malicious compliance. This one is tagged original. IT wanted process over results. I gave them process. And panic. A couple of years ago, I got shuffled out of the business side and into IT during a reorganization. The official reason was better alignment with software delivery. The real reason? I'm expensive, I don't do sales, and IT has a bigger budget. Also, and this is educated speculation, I kept not approving IT's bills for not meeting specs, which apparently makes me difficult and not solution oriented. So now I report to the executive I previously challenged over the quality of his team's work. Since joining IT, everything has to be a ticket. Doesn't matter if it's a question, a clarification, or divine revelation. No ticket, no work. PMs handle ticket creation and prioritization, which sounds fine in theory. Except my actual job is to consult with business analysts and developers. I know more about the rules, regulations, and use of cases of our software than anyone in the company, and my work doesn't easily fall into a ticket. It's more of a problem-solving role for existing tickets. Still, no ticket equals no work. Bureaucracy over brains. Clients, especially senior ones, tend to reach out to me directly because I can actually answer their questions. Normally, I just respond and, if needed, make a ticket afterward for tracking. But management didn't like that. After one particularly spirited discussion over delays to close low priority tickets in lieu of responding to high priority client emails, my boss told me to stop responding to client emails altogether. I was to forward them to PMs who would create, prioritize, and assign tickets. I explained patiently that these emails often come from executives and need quick turnaround. Boss's response? Follow the process or we won't know how overworked you are. Okay then, boss, let's follow the process. A week later, I get an email from the CFO of one of our biggest clients asking for details about a customized build. Normally, I'd get an estimate out in a couple of hours. Instead, I CC'd my boss and PM, confirmed I'd received their request, and politely asked them to create and assign a ticket. A few days later, the CFO followed up. We need this by Friday. I replied again, CCing everyone, apologizing for the delay and asking that the assigned resource take note of the urgency, knowing full well no one had assigned the ticket. Behind the scenes, I had already done the estimate and informed the client what was happening. Spoiler, nothing. Suddenly, my boss is frantically pinging me. Why haven't you gone back to the CFO? I calmly reminded him that he told me to only work on assigned tickets. 2, he would stay CC'd on every email. 3, he'd have to ask for the PM for a status update. There was a long, delicious silence before he finally replied, okay, you don't need a ticket for everything. In the future, if it's from an executive, just respond and make a ticket afterward. Sure thing, boss. Glad we cleared that up. I sent the estimate, everyone was happy, and peace was restored. And better yet, management now puts results over process. Well, the first part anyway, but peace and results, well, that's a malicious compliance story for another day. Oh, that was a good one. Let's see. Story number 8 is coming to us from r/malicious compliance, tagged original. HOA president wanted heat. I manage a New York City condo with central AC that, once switched to winter mode, can't go back to cooling until spring. New York City law requires heat starting October 1st, but October swings from chilly to unseasonably warm, so we usually wait for a real cold stretch before turning it on. Tenants were fine with this for years. One chilly day was better than being unbearably hot for 10. Last year, the board president lost it over a slightly chilly day towards the middle of October. She sent an email demanding we turn on the heating system immediately, and that going forward the heat must always be on by October 31st. She didn't care if other units would be uncomfortably warm and that she's the board president, and she should be comfortable in her unit. This year, we followed her orders. On October 1st, heat on. At the annual meeting, tenants were furious. They wanted to know why a system that had worked for years was suddenly broken. The president started chewing me out for getting her email the previous year. Not wanting to deal with her nonsense, I got the green light from my boss to pull up her own email on the projector, her exact words, her exact demands. She went pale, and for the first time ever, had nothing to say. She lost her position in the election. Her replacement was very happy we called her out, and we renewed our contract for 5 more years. That worked out well. Story number 9 is coming to us from r/malicious compliance. No phones allowed, no exceptions. My boss once announced a strict rule during training: no phones out during work hours, no exceptions. A week later, he called me 3 times during my shift to ask why I didn't answer his messages. When I finally called back on my break, I said, "Sorry, I wasn't following the no phone, no exceptions rule." He stopped enforcing that rule the next day. As he should. All right, we'll read one more. I am falling asleep. Story number 10 is coming to us from r/malicious compliance. It is tagged original. Making them cold just seemed like the right thing to do. I used to work in a retirement village with a communal restaurant/dining room. There was this awful family who, despite being only a 15-minute drive away from the village, would almost never visit their mother. We can tell the mother Sam. Sam was kind. Sam's family were constantly neglecting to provide her with items such as clothing, and most of Sam's valuables had, in my opinion, been stolen by them. As they were the power of attorney for financial, personal, and health matters, nothing legally could be done, apparently. Fast forward to a hot Australian Christmas day. The village is hosting a Christmas lunch for the old people who didn't manage to go out for the day. Families were welcome, but you had to book ahead. The invitation clearly said to bring a jumper, as the AC was very cold, to cater for the constant opening of the dining room doors with guests coming in and out. Naturally, Sam's family failed to book a seat and had to be accommodated last minute. Naturally, they were the only ones without a jumper. I got the privilege of finding them a place to sit, so I dressed Sam in an extra warm, nice outfit and set up the table under the big main AC vent. 10 minutes later, Sam's annoyed son and daughter-in-law approached me and asked, "Can you please turn down the air conditioning? It is so cold." "Yep, no problem, I can do that," I said, and I did. I turned the AC down an extra 4 degrees. I think it's 16 degrees Celsius, if memory serves. Sam's family left earlier than any other family, and Sam was able to spend the rest of Christmas with people who spoke to her like she was a human being. Edit: jumper equals sweater or jersey. We also used jumper cables to warm up the old people until the Age Care Commission decided it was a crime. Okay. Yeah, I'm not here for any of the entitlement. I'm here for the pettiness. Let's see. Okay, that is 10 stories for this week's episode of Was I in the Wrong? That is us done for the day. Thank you so much for being here, for listening along with me. I hope you enjoyed the stories, and I will see you next time for another episode of the Misty Morrison Podcast. Bye.